just tell us what you know.
Okay.
Because you did say that when the police, your coworkers and people who told you that what happened when the police officer came in, you don't remember that because you were unconscious. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, so they filled you in on what happened.
Yes, they did.
So why don't you start at the beginning and tell me, was it daytime, nighttime, what transpired?
Okay. Now, I was supposed to be going out of town that weekend because the guy I was dating at the time, he was sick himself. So, had made plans to go up there. Well, that Friday, I wasn't able to leave because I got strep throat. First time I ever had it. Went to the doctor. They gave me some medicine, and I took the medicine, and I was pretty out of it most of the weekend. So, on Saturday, my toilet stopped up. So, I called my mom. I said, Mom, what do I need to do? So
Like
she
we
said,
do, we call our mother. Right?
Yes. So she said, call the maintenance man, call the apartment manager, see when a maintenance man can come. So I called him, and he said, well, he won't be there until Sunday. So I was like, okay. So Sunday came, and I was actually on the phone with my mom when he got there. So I told him what was going on. I told him it was stopped up, and then I got off the phone with my mom and said, I'm going to call you back once he leaves.
He meaning the maintenance man?
Correct.
Okay.
So I'm really not sure if he even fixed everything. I just know that he was there, and I showed
And what
him.
time of day was it when he came?
It was about 4 o'clock.
4 in the afternoon, okay. And is this a regular maintenance man? I know sometimes you live in an apartment complex, is that correct? And they have, people who you know, like the maintenance man, you can call him by his name. Did you know this particular maintenance man?
No, I did not.
Had you ever seen him before? And do you know any maintenance man there? Or
No.
No. So this was someone you had was a complete stranger?
Complete stranger.
And he came on a Sunday?
Yes.
All right. So he came in, did what he had to do, and did he say goodbye? Yeah.
The only thing he said was that he did fix everything. So, and even with him saying that, I really don't know that because I wasn't in the room with them. I had went out and I was actually laying down. So he told me that he fixed everything, and then I walked him out and I locked my top lock.
How many locks do you have on your door?
It was 2.
Okay, 2.
So I just locked the one at the top.
Okay.
And then I laid back down because I had taken that medicine, so I was pretty out of it. And then I just remember about 9 o'clock that night, because it was dark, I just remember feeling somebody just on top of me, and they just had their hands around my neck. And then I just remember trying to punch him, and I just felt a punch in my left eye, and then I felt a punch in my right eye. And that's the only thing that I can remember happening. And then I woke up that Tuesday.
No, you said the same night, same day, which was a Sunday.
Correct.
Later on in the evening at 9 p.m., you woke up with someone on top of you.
Correct.
And this is when he started to beat you, so to
Correct.
speak. And you didn't wake up until Tuesday?
Correct.
All right, go ahead.
And then on Tuesday, and I'm going by what I've been told because on Monday people said that they called me and I answered the phone, but I don't remember actually opening up my eyes because I remember that my eyes just hurt and I couldn't do anything. And my grandmother told me that she called me and she said, "Are you okay?" And I told her no.
No, this is on Tuesday?
Yes, this was on Tuesday morning.
Okay, and you answered the phone, and you said no.
Yes, and she asked, was I okay? And I told her no. And then one of my coworkers who lived in Little Rock had called and asked, was I okay? And I told her no.
Okay.
So they got in contact with each other, and they were like, okay, we got to get someone up there. In the meantime, I hadn't been at work. I hadn't called in. I was supposed to be there that Monday, and my supervisor and my friends knew, okay, she's not here, something's going on. Because I've been with the company for years, and they know that I'm just not going to miss work.
All right. Now, the question I have for you is, you said when they called you and you said you weren't okay, were you sort of conscious then, or were you aware that you had been harmed and things of that nature? Was the person in the apartment with you at that time, or do you know?
That part I'm not sure.
Really?
Excuse me, that box.
Sorry. Thank you. Okay. So you're not sure. So then tell us what you know. Go from there.
Okay. So that Tuesday, and this is from what my relatives and my coworkers told me, that they called the police officer and he came, and they said that they wouldn't let my friends in. They had to go in and check themselves and make sure that I was in there. They said that male answered the door and said, "Oh, she's fine. We just had a lover spat," and left it at that. And then he actually walked away, and he said, "Oh, she's fine." So I'm not sure if he even came in or saw me at all.
Okay. So what you're basically saying is that you were out of it from the moment that this guy attacked you up until Tuesday.
Correct.
And then some. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And when did you come to?
A week later?
A week later?
Yes.
All right.
Salisa, could you talk about your coworkers and the efforts that they undertook to get you help, and how the police officer was treating them and how he reacted to what they were telling him?
Okay. They had told him that I had not been at work, that was unlike me, and that they hadn't seen me, and they were coming to my apartment to see if I was there. So once he told them, "Oh, she's in there, she's fine," they said, "No, something's wrong." So he kept telling them, "No, she's fine, and they kept saying, "No, something's wrong." So then they had to call another set of police officers to come out there. The apartment manager wouldn't even let them in. So they were just very, very persistent because they know how I am, especially when it comes to my job.
And they told the apartment manager that there was suspicion that there was a problem,
Yes.
that you might be hurt, and he didn't want to let them in?
No, he wasn't going to let anyone in because I guess you can say they didn't have my permission
Mm-hmm.
because they weren't sure if I was there or not.
Okay. All right. Can you go on and talk about what you know about the entirety of the situation? Meaning, we know you were unconscious. When you came to, what were you told in terms of what happened? And describe the most important moment, which is what the police officer did and didn't do while he was there doing his so-called investigation.
Okay. Once I came to, they told me that I had severe head trauma. They told me that I had been beaten. And I could tell something because my contacts weren't in my eyes. And they were always in my eyes. I'm like, okay, I can't see anything right now. And then it hurt to open up my eyes. The thing that caught my eye was, I'm scared to death of needles. I saw this big needle.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. They told me I was in an accident. They didn't tell me everything right away. So when I think of accident, I thought about my car, and I named her Rhonda.
Okay.
So I'm like, "Where's Rhonda? Where's Rhonda?" And they're like, "Rhonda's fine."
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of relaxed, and then after a few days, I said, "Okay, what happened? I wasn't in a car accident. What happened?" And they told me what happened. They told me about the police officer, and I asked them. I said, "Why didn't he do anything? He came to my apartment. Why did he not do anything?"
Mm-hmm.
And they said that they were not sure why he didn't do anything.
Now, the contacts, and this is just a question, female question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you sleep in them? Are they the ones that stay in all the time when you go to sleep? Are they there, or did you take them out when you go to sleep?
Sometimes I'll take them out. Sometimes I'll leave them in. It's not required for me to take them out.
Right. Okay. I was just curious because when you woke up, you couldn't see anything, and I was wondering when I reached for your contacts. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this apartment complex where you live, because it seems to me a person that would do this,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't seem like it's the first time anyone. It seems whoever did this to you knew what they were doing. And the maintenance man, has anyone looked into who this person is or was? And do you remember what this particular person looked like when he came on Sunday?
Now, he did come on Sunday, and he's actually one of my coworkers who lived over there, her boyfriend, and the maintenance man, and his name is Anthony Dean.
The maintenance man is Anthony Dean?
Correct.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
They actually talked back and forth. So they knew of each other.
Mm-hmm.
I knew no one in that apartment complex. I go to work, go home, go to sleep.
How long have you been at this complex?
I was there about 10 months.
Oh, so you're really relatively new there.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so you don't know the history of this apartment complex, if this has happened before. Has there been anyone else who's been assaulted at this particular complex, or do you know anything about that?
There was someone that was assaulted there. I did find out about this after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it happened before or afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they did talk to the maintenance man,
Mm-hmm.
and they said that since he went in there and he didn't, I guess you can say, show any signs of, oh my gosh, I did this, or oh my gosh, I did that, they just kind of let it go.
Meaning like he didn't show any signs of guilt. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And usually people who are good at doing what this person did wouldn't show guilt, would they? I wouldn't think. All right.
Do you know if they collected any fingerprints or any serious evidence collection in your apartment? And did they do a rape kit? And if so, what were the results, if you know?
They, as far as the evidence in the apartment, I'm not sure about. Now, they did do a rape kit, and then they did find DNA, but they did tell me that there was not enough DNA to test.
Mm.
They told me that 10 months later.
That's what they told you.
Correct.
Now, not enough to test?
I
No,
watch forensic files. You don't
exactly.
need much.
You don't need much. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Also, the clothing that you were wearing at the time, did they take that or do anything with that, or is that in your possession right now, or what?
No, that part I'm not even sure about.
They probably kept it at the hospital. They may have even thrown it away if no one told them to save it. So, did they ever give you any evidence that they collected and said, hey, this is what we got from your apartment? Nothing like that. Did they ever conduct an investigation?
No, they didn't.
So the maintenance guy, as far as you said, he seemed comfortable, so they feel like they had nothing to worry about with him. But my question to you is, you know what he looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know who he is. Is he still at this apartment complex?
He worked there for a while. I would say probably up until 6 months after it happened, and then he left.
Do we know where he is now?
He's still in Kentucky somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where.
We're going to find him.
We're gonna find him.
Okay.
We're gonna find this guy.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And you know what he looks like.
I do.
I mean, there should be a background check of some sort because, like I said, anyone who did this to you, it's his comfort zone. I'm sure he's done it before.
Yes.
And so we'll have to find out. We'll have to go under surveillance and find this guy and see what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would, Salisa, just talk to Tyra for a bit about what this incident has done to your family, both good and bad. Although I know mostly bad, I've read a lot of letters from your family going back and forth in terms of what they've been trying to do to help you. It really, you were a rallying cry for the whole family, and they really came together in a big way. If you could talk about that for a minute, and talk about what you lost and how you feel about the situation.
Okay. I had a lot of family come up there. I had my cousin, I had my sister, I had my mom, had my granny, had my auntie there. And I mean, it really, really hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Because before I moved there, I was living with my grandmother. I'm my mom's only child.
Mm-hmm.
My auntie, she's like my mom.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of bad things. But I mean, we got through it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we're getting through it, right?
Yes, we're
Okay.
getting through it.
Okay. And what's your emotional state right now? How do you feel? And are you having a difficult time sleeping? Are you afraid? Because before because I'm a very secure, conscious person. I lived in New York. I've been around, and I'm not a trusting person at all. You know,
Yeah.
my husband will tell you, I won't let when the maintenance man comes to my house, he has to be home. You know, I'm really paranoid like that. I don't know why, but I just have a New York state of mind. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
So, how were you before? Were you a trusting person? Were you, that type? And how are you now? How were you before? Like when this guy came into your house, you just felt like it was the maintenance man. Go do your job and leave.
Yeah.
Is that how you felt? Mm-hmm.
And now I don't stay at home by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm not sure when I will be able to.
Mm-hmm.
I try to have someone around me as much as possible because, I mean, of course, during the day I feel better, but at night, like, no, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I still go see a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
so
Is it helping?
it is. I mean, I have my moments where it kind of upsets me, but then I have my days where everything's fine.
Mm-hmm. I know sometimes when things happen to me, I'm a very vocal person, and I don't keep anything in, and talk about it and talk about it and talk about it and talk. I throw it up on everyone so that I can make sure I get it out of my system. Do you find that talking about it helps?
Sometimes I don't talk about it, and that was the problem that I was having because I was holding it in. So once I did get to the point where I talked about it, I would feel better.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Okay, my next question is, because you don't have much of a memory of what happened, right? Because once you felt the first punch, you felt the second punch, and after that you felt someone choking you and you were out. So
No, the choking happened before.
Oh, he started choking you first.
Yeah, he started doing that, and he punched me because I was trying to punch him back.
Okay.
And he actually stole 2 rings that were on my fingers.
So these are in his possession.
I'm
Obviously.
not sure.
Well, whatever. Go ahead.
I don't know if he pawned them or not.
Mm-hmm.
So he took those because apparently I punched him pretty hard.
They were on you. They were on your finger, and he took them off. You remember that?
No, I don't. Okay. I just remember looking down like, where's my rings? Because one was my class ring.
All right.
Now, this amounts to a sexual assault and a burglary in your apartment. And I want to go back over, again, what the police did and didn't do. We know the first officer left the scene and didn't do anything. Do you know what the second 2 officers did, if they did anything at all?
I know that they did get an ambulance to come there and get me.
They called for the ambulance, the second group of officers.
Yes.
So when they looked at you, they could tell something was terribly wrong here.
Correct.
Now, when I looked at the EMT reports, the ambulance workers said that basically they knew that you were really hurt badly, and they were baffled as to why no one had called. Is there, again, I'm going to say this one more time, it's the most obvious question in this investigation. Is there any reason that this cop would not have known that you were injured or hurt as badly as you were? And given what your photographs look like that I've seen afterwards, did you look any different on that day? Meaning, because your eyes are completely shut within a few days of that beating. And you had blood in your mouth, and you had blood on your shirt. And you were on a place in the living room where he could see you. He left you there and went out of the apartment with you still in that condition like I've described.
Correct. I'm not sure what he was thinking. I'm not sure if he was thinking at all.
And you were moved because originally, were you in bed when this happened, or were you on your sofa in the living room, or where were you?
I was on the sofa.
Okay, so you were still in that same space when all of these different cops and the first cop came and all of that. Okay.
Because before everything happened, before he got there, I was already asleep. So this was a surprise to me.
Sounds like someone was stalking. Seems like that's not. Whomever did this to you, in my opinion,
Watched your apartment.
Had watched you, and was very much aware of your pattern. And this is why I'm saying that whomever this is, it wasn't the first time they did this. And especially if they took your jewelry and stole from you, it could be a serial rapist who keeps things for himself, or it could be someone who may pawn things. And if they did, we should check the vicinity of where you live, if there are pawn shops and things of that nature, and we should really do a serious background check on not only this maintenance guy. I mean, we should do a check on every maintenance guy who works there within 2008 and before, because sometimes when people do things like this, they kind of vanish and go to another place and start all over again. I am so sorry that this happened to you.
Let's move to something a little positive, Tyra. You can talk to Salisa about this. You have recovered to some extent. You're still it's a day, we're work in progress, but you have recovered substantially. And you've got a new relationship.
I do.
And I want you to talk a bit about your recovery and the person you found now who's in your life that's helping you get through this.
Okay. I mean, his name is Brian. We've been together almost 2 years. He's like a blessing from God. He knew that I needed him. And I just love him so much. And I tell him all the time, and I think a lot of times I don't tell him enough.
But you trust him. He came at the right time, and he was very understanding. Is that correct?
Yes. And that's what I needed, someone who was understanding of the situation, because it's not easy.
No. And he makes you feel safe,
He does.
and he's there for you. That's really important. And just remember, always communicate. Always tell him how you're feeling, because this is a process. This will probably never go away, you know, because they're thoughts. But just know that it's not your fault. You know that. You know that. And we're here for you. Policeabuse.com. I mean, ever since I heard your story, I've been angry. And I'm very empathetic. Unlike my husband, he's like a surgeon. He can go in and operate and cut and not be moved.